month. Very excited for today's call. We have the queen of the one call telesales close, Kedlyn Colon. Kedlyn, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you guys? Thank you for having me, honestly. It's an honor to be here.
Absolutely. And round of applause because you're killing it. And I love your office. You're in Tampa?
I'm in Tampa right now, yes.
Love that. Okay. So I definitely want to jump into the telesales stuff and everything that you're doing there, but I just want to give us a brief rundown how long with FFL and what kind of brought you here.
Gotcha. I've been with FFL for 16 months now, so a little bit over a year. Honestly, the reason why I started with Family First Life because I had got a life insurance policy when I was 18. But at that point, the agent who sold me the policy worked with Family First Life. He basically chased me for the last 2 years after that. And then here I am. Like, he was really consistent on his recruiting, and I had to give it to him. Like, he was like on top of me like for 2 years long. And at some point it makes sense to my life to really make that change and to move where from the position I was at that point, which I was a hospitality manager, to jump into this a completely different industry, new industry for me. I had no such thing as experience towards the sales overall, neither life insurance. Like, I didn't know anything at all. I didn't know anything at all. And then from there, I just jumped into this opportunity. I do have to say that it was a little bit of struggle at the beginning because I failed my exam twice. And then after that, it was like, oh my gosh, should I try it again? And I just did it for me, for my family. It makes total sense. And here I am 16 months later and we're rocking it.
That's awesome. And how old are you? You're pretty young.
I'm 22. I would turn 23 on June 18th. So I'm almost there. I don't want to say it that loud, but I'm almost there at 23 years old, but I'm 22 right now.
Wow. Well, you have a lot to be proud of, being 22 and doing this. So now 16 months, and, you started out going into the field, and now when did you make the move to going the telesales route? And are you 100% telesales?
Yeah. So, I honestly got really inspired after convention because I saw how Nina's and Josh Williams' team was growing. And I'm like, damn, like what are they doing that we're not doing? Like, I got to that point, and I feel like as a leader, you had to check yourself every single day. Like, you had to talk to yourself and be like, what am I not doing that I should be doing, not only to elevate myself, but to elevate my team? Because something that I learned from Sean is that if you do 100, your agents are going to do 50%. So if I wanted to elevate myself, and by doing that, elevate the team, that I needed to give my 200 so they will be able to do 100. So after that, after convention, honestly, for me and the team, convention was a boom. Like, it was like the massive event that really got us into really understanding and putting our feet in earth and really like be like, okay, we have to do this. This is what is expected. And not only that, but this is the goal, like what we had to do to get to that point. So I talked to that managers afterwards, and we were like, yeah, it makes total sense that we invest more on leads, that we put the time into the phone, and that we close them right there. Like, we do this right there. So we gave it a try. Around 2 weeks ago, the entire team, we were super committed. We're like, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this together. We protected in 3 days around 70 families. Wow. And it was a huge deal for us. Like, 3 days protecting 70 families. It was a boom, it's especially for us doing this the first time. And after that, it was like, okay, what can we do to, instead of protecting 70 families in 3 days, to double that? Like, what can we do to elevate that point? Then we just figured that is putting more time and just having a structure, having every single one accountable towards this. And like I said, if you're putting 200, they're going to give the 100. So it's about me showing up every single day. Yes, you have to buy more leads. And yes, you have to put more time in the phone. But at the end of the day, it makes total sense.
Yeah. And I want to break all that down because I'm big into, like, I want to do everything. And I think this is the wave of the future and why there is so much growth, yeah. But I want to break it down for everybody, so there's full transparency around what it takes and the investment and the time and all that jazz. So as you're going about this, you're basically doing this on telesales. How many actual days a week are you trying to do one call closes?
how many sales we do in a day, or
how many days are you actually like dialing to do the telesales? Is it like an everyday thing or?
Right now, just because we're still like, figuring out everything. Yeah, we're doing amazing, but for me and for the team, we're still figuring it out. We're putting 7 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are you predominantly out of that office every day that you're working, or you do some stuff from home? Okay.
No. Most of the time I come here, and the reason why I do that is because I get distracted real quickly, and because I know myself, I rather just have my workspace because I know I'm working. I'm not at home where I can get distracted and cook and do this and do that. I'd rather be at the office where I can focus and I know that I'm here to work.
Got it. Makes sense.
But that's me because I know me personally.
Yeah. Okay. So now from a lead spend perspective, is it like a daily lead spend? Is it like a couple times a week lead order? What does that look like?
Yeah, I still invest twice a week. Unless I know that I'm like running a little bit low when it comes to leads. So the way I break it down is that I have my mortgages because I already have mailers and so on coming in. Plus now I'm investing way more money into internet leads. But for the internet leads, I have Fern Burner dialing that for me while I'm dialing over here my mortgage. So I basically double dialing, if you can call it like that. So I have Fern Burner here dialing for me 3 times every single lead. And then I have myself over here dialing every single mortgage. The reason why I do that is because when it comes to internet leads, and this is the way I understand it now, is that when it comes to internet leads, they're less expensive, yes, but you had to dial in way more. And at this point, I understand that my time means money. And that's why I'd rather have something or a platform or something that is dialing those leads for me so I can maximize my time and focus also on my mortgage while Fern Burner is styling for me. So at that point, I will get both and we'll get to resolve more leads as far as the date goes.
Got it. So what would you say you're spending in internet leads a week and then in mortgage mailers a week?
It depends. But to give you a solid number, as far as like mortgage and internet leads and so on, I spend around $1,200 to $2,000. So it really depends on how low my mortgage came. And then obviously every single time we have, every single time you have codes for the internet leads from WordSpot and so on, then I use it on my advantage. I use it for the team as well. So it really depends and like how that works on how that week it's going to be, but at least I will say 1,200 will be the ideal number.
Okay, so 1,200, obviously using work spots, and anybody who's not on it, I mean, we just did 40% off today. We had 45 last week. So you're buying, let's say that 1,000 of internet leads, but you're actually really getting like probably 1,600 with the discounts.
Yes,
so you're getting
correct.
More. So how many actual leads, because you're doing 1 in 3 months, I'm assuming an instance, how many internet leads will you typically sit down with in a day to do the telesales, call to close?
So, it's a rough number. Again, everything depends. I personally, I have encountered that at least 5 people I get in touch with, and at least 3 people, that's a closed deal. At least 3 people are a closed deal, and then 2 are a follow-up. That's as far as the internet leads. I leave that dialing. I don't have to worry about anything else. It's a done deal. You can get way more than that if you're just focusing on the internet leads. Remember that I'm also dialing my mortgages. So I don't want to sabotage my production. But if you're only focusing on internet leads, then you can get from 20 answers to actually get 10 involved, and then at least 5 close. That's basically 5 families that you're protecting on a daily basis.
Okay. So now you're dialing through it. You're trying to do the one call close. When you get objection about like, hey, can't do it now, whatever, how do you handle that? Do you reschedule it for later in the day? Like, how do you manage that?
Yeah. So as far as my mortgages go, there's always 2 legs most of the time. So I don't want to discuss this information with just one leg. So after that, it's going to be a miscommunication. So just like any other case, I would just have I schedule time with them later that day or next day when they're together, but I still do it over the phone. Like, I'm not going to drive to their house. I still do it over the phone. I just go ahead and schedule the best time where they both are going to be together, and we go from there. But then I close it afterwards over the phone. So it's the same thing. But if I get both legs there, especially on weekends, this happens a lot that they're both together, then I just close them right there. It makes total sense for them.
Okay, gotcha. So on your internet stuff, are you licensed in multiple states, or are you just running Florida?
No, I'm licensed in multiple states. And the thing about Telesales, I feel like this is the advantage that I feel Telesales has, is that you don't have to figure out how far is this client from my house, or how far is it's going to take me to get to their point, you know. I will definitely recommend that you guys get licensed at least in 5 states. But that's, you know, that's my recommendation. That's what we have encountered, 5 states at least, where you can definitely buy leads from here, like buy leads from there. Yeah, yesterday I was buying leads from Louisiana. They were extremely hot over there. So it's a matter of finding where from the CRM internet leads, or 1-3 months old, are most where they have the most leads at, and then buy from there. And that's what I have been doing. It has been working for me and the team as well. Now, if you only have 1 state for now, just make sure that you still have the entire state, so you no longer have to worry about what county, you know, like you have the entire state that you can pick and choose from.
Got it. Okay. So now when you get somebody on the phone, an internet lead, and walk me through kind of your phone to taking them to the fact that we're going to try and get you insurance right away.
I got you. So basically I call them, hey, Steve, this is Kedlyn. I'm just giving you a call back in regards to the mortgage request that you put in for us to give you the options that you will have to protect that mortgage. Now, Steve, before we even move forward with this phone call, because I know this is a priority for you and your family, I do have to corroborate this information just because we're over the phone. So I don't know if I'm speaking to the right person. Makes sense? Perfect. Okay. At that point, I corroborate the information, your date of birth, basically the information that I have right there on the lead. And then from there, I'm like, okay, perfect. Steve, I have another question. I have here that you didn't put any spouse or any partner that you have over that mortgage. Now, is this a accurate information, or this is incorrect? And then at that point, they tell me yes or no. If they were to tell me yes, I'm like, perfect. And what's the name of this person that it's in the mortgage with you? And then they told me, hey, it's Michelle. She's my, I don't know, she's my spouse, she's my wife, whatever they might say. And then from there, I'm like, perfect, Steve. So Steve, this is a really important information. And obviously, I know that you guys are married, meaning that this is the information that needs to be handled for both of you guys. So that being said, what will be the best time that you and Michelle will be together so we can talk and I can basically provide all the options that you guys will qualify for over the phone, either later today or tomorrow? What works best for you? And then he tells me later today after I get from work. Perfect. So Steve, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to put you over here for 6:30. And then just make sure that you inform this to Michelle so we can, the 3 of us can discuss what the options will be if something were to happen to one of you guys for the mortgage and your children. Makes sense? Perfect. So I make them repeat that so I can make sure that by that 6:30, even though it's an appointment over the phone, I'm not wasting my time. And I just, after that, I'm like, okay, Steve, so what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to go ahead and send you my license number. And then I'm also going to send you a link where you can verify that I'm actually a licensed broker here in the state of Florida, or whatever state you might be calling them from. And then from there, you're now going to have my personal information and also my personal number. If something changed between now and 6 to 6:30, then just go ahead and shoot me a text or give me a call. That is if the spouse were not there. If the spouse was there with him, then I move forward with, okay, can you go ahead and put me on speaker? Perfect. Hey, Michelle, how are you? I'm doing great. How are you? Okay, perfect. Hey, Michelle, the reason why I was giving you and Steve a phone call was because I see the request that you guys filled out to protect the mortgage amount that we have of $250,000. Now, my job is really simple. It's just to go ahead and verify the information, 1, and number 2, to provide with the options that you guys will qualify for to protect this mortgage. Do you guys have 10 to 15 minutes to basically be over the phone with me while we take care of this? Yes, perfect. So then from there, I move forward And I just start with the inventory sheet. And I'm like, okay, Steve, Michelle, right now, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go ahead and send you an email. That email that I'm going to send you is going to have 2 PDFs files. It's going to have the PDF file where you guys are going to be able to see all the companies that I work with. And then also you guys are going to see my license. Perfect. Let me know when you get it. They get the email. And then from there, what I usually say to create that bonding or that trust is like, okay, now go ahead into the PDF file that has all the companies that I work with, and just let me know which one sounds familiar or looks familiar to you. And they instantly, they at least tell me 1 or 2, at least. American, Mutual, AIG, those are usually the 3 ones that pop up into their heads. And then I'm like, perfect. I just wanted to make sure that you guys understand who I work with and what I'm here to do for you guys. So meaning that I'm going to go ahead and shop around for the best prices, something that will fit your budget. And then again, it will solve your problem because I'm here to provide solutions. Make sense? Perfect. And then from there, they also see my license. So whenever they search my license on the CFO, it says right there, all the companies that I work with. At that point, I'm corroborating the information that I send them. So at that point, they're already trusting me. So from there, I'm like, okay, perfect. Now that you guys verify that I'm someone licensed here, what I want to go ahead and do is that basically I'm going to go ahead and ask you guys a couple of questions. It's a yes or no answer. And just from there, we're going to move forward. Okay, perfect. And then at that point, I just start with the inventory sheet. Like you guys know it, how we do it. I finish everything. And then the transition from there to filling the application is like, so now Steve and Michelle, I do see a couple options that will fit your budget and will basically solve your problem. Now, we're not going to be able to know that until we submit a pre-application. So what I want you guys to do is that I'm going to go ahead and sign up for you guys a pre-application. If you guys want to be involved into that, we can jump into a Zoom. If you guys already trust me enough, then we can go ahead and just do it through the phone. What makes more sense for you guys? So at that point, we either jump into the Zoom or we say over the phone. And then from there, it's a done deal. We fill the application. I usually tell them, hey, I'm going to allow you a 15-day window where you're going to be able to basically pay that first premium. And the reason why I say this, especially with mortgages, is because by the time I get the lead, they're already paid out the house. It's a lot going on. And I don't want them to hesitate. So I give them the 15-day window where they trust in me already. If they don't call me in those 15-day window, it's going to go through because I already was specific with it. But in that 50 days window, they also usually call me to increase the protection. So I just go ahead, receive that phone call. At that point, we go ahead and submit another application. So a lot could happen in 15 days. So that's why I usually give them that 15-day window. And then it's a done deal. After that, I corroborate my information, send them a corroboration with their email that they got approved or not. And then from there, we move forward. In 15 days, they will either call me back or I will call them back.
Got it. Okay. So that's kind of like your mortgage, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. On your one call closes on like instant stuff, internet stuff, what would you say is like a reasonable expectation for an agent on if I buy 100 leads, like how many you're closing on 100, let's say, one call close?
If you have 100 leads, you will be closing at least, I would say 10. But that's 10 families that you help. Out of 100, right, you at least you for sure gonna close 10. Now that's gonna fall down towards how many times you're dialing and if you're actually doing your job as far as solving that lead. Because I have clients and I have leads. I personally, I'm able to follow up with Fernburner and so on, but I at least called that same lead. If they didn't answer that day, I called the next day and next day and next day. And at that point, right, if it attempt 3 times, 3 triple dials each, then I send in a text message. Like it really depends also on how you manage your leads, because I get a lot of agents that are like, oh my God, I called all these leads one time. Okay. Yeah. None of them answered. Okay, do you triple dial? Do you call them twice a day at different times? Like you have to make sure that you at least are doing your job and solving those leads. If you do that, then at least 10 for sure.
And you mentioned phone burners. So on your phone burner, let's say you're running 2 or 3 different states. Are you able, I've personally never used it. Are you able to put different zip codes for your different states. So it looks like you're calling from that state.
So what happened is that in FernBurner, you get to create different folders, right? On FernBurner, you had to input the lead already on a cheat sheet. You have the cheat sheet right here. And then before you export it into FernBurner, you had to put the information 3 times so it could triple dial for you. So depending on the amount of time that you have that contact in, that's the time that FernBurner is gonna dial it for you. So what I would recommend that you guys create different folders, and then each day you guys pick a different folder from that.
And with the folders, it'll call specifically from the zip code that you're
correct. And not only that, Steve, but once they answer, the lead is gonna pop up. It's gonna be like, oh, this lead answered. Now it's gonna be like all the information from that lead. Right. So you're gonna be able to know where is that lead from and so on.
Got it. And now you've been doing this 2 weeks, about 2 or 3 weeks?
Weeks. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
I was digging in since convention, but I gave it a full try 2 weeks ago.
Okay. So spending the 12, what were you able, how many families were you able to protect last week?
13 families.
Okay. All right. It's a good,
but
ROI
that was 3
in my
days.
book.
That was 3 days. That was 3 days of fully doing this.
Yeah. And I think a key thing you said there that I think everybody has to understand is if you're buying more in leads and you're doing it, whatever, if you do it twice a week, however you break it down, and you're using work spots, like you're continuously throwing those into FernBurner every day. So let's say you got the 10 that you got the one day, you might get another one the next day out of that, and then another one. Like it's the inventory of leads that you're building for yourself at the end of the day.
Correct. Okay. And now I have everything like built up, even the leads that I bought a year ago. I'm telling you, like whoever was with me on the live dial on Saturday, like I was dialing age, like a year old plus leads. And those people, what they were telling me was like, you know what? Thank God you called me because no one never got in touch with me. And those were like 16 months old leads. So it works, bro. It works. I mean, if you put the work and you have all the structure and the instruments to do it, it's going to happen. Yeah.
Well, you just said the magic words, because now you have FernBurner, which is a great tool. You have the fact that you can, all the time that you're not driving and in between, like all that, like you have more time, you're in the office, the whole deal. And the FernBurner is actually doing the work. You're not sitting there dialing a bajillion times. So it's a pretty good system that you have going.
At this point, it's about buying more quantity than quality, I feel like, when it comes to that. But if you are consistent with this structure, there's no way you're not going to be able to protect at least one family a day. And protecting one family a day, and I'm talking about your worst day. Okay, I'm talking about your worst day, and protecting one family a day. Let's say that you're going to work 5 days out of the week. That's 5 families. And I'm talking about the worst day ever, because my worst day has been 3 when I started it. Now you can protect 5 families. Like it all depends again.
And here's another thing that I've thought about. I don't know if you're doing this. I know you have a team, but like if you buy in an area where you've hired an agent or agents, and now you have 100 leads and you sold 10, like, and then 75 of them you can't get on the phone, or here you go, now you got agents on the ground you can give to.
I do that too. I do that actually right there on the spot. I'm like, hey, this one didn't answer. I'm gonna give it to you. Just give me a call, and we get to listen everything. And it happens. They answer to the agent and not to me. It happens.
Got it. Okay. So last thing, I don't want to go crazy long. I know you got a busy day. Give us like last minute, like tips and tricks. Anybody who's looking to just kind of make that move. You said a lot of great things going into Telesales. Obviously, the number one thing is going to be investing more in leads. I think that's a big takeaway. But what are some other like key little things to anybody who's ready to make that full transition?
Yeah. One, don't put that much pressure on you. Be consistent, build a structure where you can relate on you. I mean, not a person that it's besides you, it's going to come and tell you what to do. Like you have to have a structure where you're leading yourself to success. Okay. I didn't know about telesale. I didn't know how to do telesale. I've been doing this for 2 weeks and it's working. And the reason why I keep sharing is because it's not working just for me, it's working for everyone else. But if you put and you have that mindset where, oh my God, telesales is not for me because I don't know much about technology, or I'm still bad on the in-home, and how am I going to close someone over the phone? Like, you have to take all those bad mentality and bad doubts out of your head, and keep focused on the fact that you have to do this. Like, you have to create a structure, you have to relate on yourself. And one thing that I will say is that if you are waking up at 9 a.m. in the morning to start your day at 11, you lost already. Like, done deal. Like, you had to wake up at 5 or 6 and then be rolling by 7:30 the latest, so you can, make your day. And I promise you, you're not even going to feel the hours. You have to have, not from burner. I mentioned from burner because that's the one I use, but you need to have a platform where that platform is going to dial for you, so you don't burn yourself out. Like, you had to have it, because I get a lot of people that jump into this and they're dialing one by one every single day. They get freaking tired. They're not protecting families, and it's just not happening for them. So I would recommend that before you even jump into it, you had to get firm burner or whatever you want to use, but have something that is dialing for you. And then the third thing, you had to start investing in leads. Like, there's no such thing as $500. It's just not going to work. Like, you had to have a lot of leads. I don't care if it's a $1 lead, $2 lead. I don't really care, but you had to have a lot of leads. And then, yeah, bro, it's about connecting. And then if you can have, since this is virtual, if you can have a group of people that you can feel accountable with, then that's even better. Like, on the lifestyle, like, we keep each other accountable, and we celebrate everything. And I feel like, once again, and I have been saying this for the last 2 weeks, tell me who you surround yourself with, and I will tell you who you are. Like, you need to start picking the people that you're going to surround yourself with, because if not this, bro, it's going to burn down. It's not going to happen. And I feel like this is the most important thing in this business, period.
I would agree with you, because it's a thing that's going to play the most tricks on you, 100%. Well, this has been amazing. And that was the last thing I was going to say there. How many hours would you say you were actually, quote unquote, dialing, working? I know you're using phone burner, in order to protect 12 families in that week?
This was my trial week. So I was like 12 hours a day. So from 7:30 to probably like 9. So more than 12 hours, but I was dialing, was selling, and that could take 30, 40, 1 hour. It depends on the case. And I was also teaching. So there was a lot going on, a lot of movement. For me, it's the best thing, because while I'm teaching, I'm learning. And then also I'm closing, which means that I'm helping families and I'm making money with that. And I just elevating myself in the team. So it makes total sense for me. But 12 hours, I would say, straight right there.
So 12 hours. And how many days did you do it?
We did it 3 days. So entire weekend, we did it for 3 days, 12 hours each. And most of the team, like, I'm telling you, people that were protecting 5 families, double that weekend. 3 days, they doubled that weekend. In an average. So it makes
think
sense.
About that, guys. You work 36 hours. So nobody's saying you're going to make that kind of money or protect that many people by working 5 minutes. So 36 hours, banged it out in 3 days, invested more. And obviously you're building a team. So you're doing the whole, back and forth of selling and, helping people and helping your team. So anybody on the call, don't be confused. It takes work. Yeah. But it's not insurmountable, and it's a system now you can have.
And not only that, Steve, like, if you really think about it, like a 9-to-5 job, that's 40 hours a week, and you get paid what, $500, $600?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's no brainer, guys. Like, this just put the work. Like, nobody's asking you to do something else but work for yourself. You're not working for someone else. You're working for you, period.
Right. And then let's also throw in there, if you wrote 12 families and then your team did 70 families, so 36 hours of work would have made you their override, bonus, so on and so forth,
and everything else. Yes.
And everything. Yeah. Everything that comes on the Sunday, you're going to get. All
For
right.
sure.
Well, you are awesome. Look forward to working with you on the Serve the People live dials, which guys, I know we were on it last week. We're going to be kind of trial and error because everything's a learning experience, but everybody here is willing to teach and help. And we appreciate you, Kedlyn, and anything that I can do for you or the team can, please reach out and let us know.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate you. Bye,
All
guys.
right, dear.
Great call, guys. Let's definitely implement what she's saying. I think expectation is everything. You know, if we think we're going to spend 3 hours on the phone and bang out 12K, you know, you're crazy. This is definitely a commitment, but it's a sacrifice you make to not have to drive to appointments anymore. So for those of you that want to engage in this strategy, I speak for Steve and I at the same time, like we're all in on that. The more activity we can get, the more resource issues that we can eliminate by getting licensed in multiple states. Like I am 100% all in on that. But look, we also have a ton of momentum. So let's keep doing what we're doing. Keep up the great work, keep up the energy, and can't wait to see you all on the next call. Kedlyn, thank you so much. And guys, happy hunting. Go protect American families.
Thank you, Rob. Bye-bye.